Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, everybody, welcome back. And I am joined by Mylin Tran. Mylin, so nice to see you again, or to see you on the Zoom. We had audio, but
thank you, Casey, for having me today.
well,
Nice meeting you.
I'm glad that you're here. I mean, because you do so many things, and maybe for the audience that isn't familiar, maybe you can just give us a little review about your specialty and your practice.
Sure. Well, I'm a licensed acupuncturist, and so I do the whole array of acupuncture modalities: acupuncture, acupressure, herbs, nutrition, scraping, cupping, and as well as energy work. And I also do allergy elimination technique called NAET, as well as doing energy work, doing clearings and meditations and just getting you into your space.
Gotcha. And when you say clearings, that's interesting. Is it clearing within the body, or is it clearing a space? Because I know you work with energy.
So it could be both. Okay. So if any of you are familiar with the energy world, we are energy beings, but we also have like an aura. We have a space, an energy field around us. And that energy field around us can get mucked up with other people's energies, other people's spirits and thoughts and emotions. So if you are empathic, which means that you're sensitive to other people's emotions, and you like to help people, you can take that on for other people.
Oh.
And
can you see it, Mylin? Can you see that energy if you're trained?
So for me, particularly, I cannot. But I'm more of a sensor. So I can sense things.
Okay.
Now, everybody's going to be different. Some people can actually see the aura. Some people can actually feel it. Some people can sense it. Some people just know it. So everybody has a different sense about it.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
The people, I'm sure that you've run into them and you might know them. What do they say it looks like? I'm just curious. Like someone's.
So it could be different colors. So, the auras, if you're looking at chakra systems, it's basically the colors of the rainbow. So you start at the root, right below the your tailbone, okay? And that's going to be red. And as you move up into your tailbone, it turns to orange. You move up into your above your navel, it becomes yellow, and then your heart is green, and then the throat is blue. The third eye, we call it the third eye chakra, is violet, and then appears magenta. Okay, and there's more.
Okay.
But when you start getting sick and things like that, your aura can turn gray, or it can turn black, or it can change colors based on what's going on with you.
All of the different chakras, they like can some be okay?
Depends. It varies on where you're having the disturbance. Your chakra colors can change. Okay.
But so you feel it. So you would feel if someone's one chakra is off, you would. Are you able
Yeah.
to
So
feel that?
I'll tap in and I'll check to see which chakras are off, and so you can use your pendulum, and I use an external pendulum. So any weighted crystal or something, and I can put it over the chakra region, and it will spin a certain way. And when it spins a certain way, I can look and say, okay, how is it spinning? And based on how it's spinning, it's how you're reacting in that chakra.
Interesting.
So you want it to spin clockwise and fairly quickly, okay, or just at least clockwise, okay? It doesn't have to be quick. But if it spins counterclockwise, you're kind of like spinning in circles and going backwards. Or if it's horizontal across, it means you don't even want to deal with whatever's going on. You're just letting it pass through. Okay.
And when you see one of these blockages, what causes it? What causes someone to have one that's thrown off or turned gray or black or something? Is that temporary too? Oh,
trauma. Whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, whether it's of your own doing, right? Maybe you're in a car accident. Maybe you had a death in the family. Maybe you're just going through a lot, a lot of stressors, and it can throw you off as well.
Wow. So how do you know when to use which one of your tools? When do you know to use acupuncture? When do you know how to use energy work? When do you know how to use a clearing technique? I mean,
Yeah, good question. But it's basically based on the patient. When they come in to see me, right, they're giving me their list of problems, right? Let's say pain management, because that's the most
the big one.
common thing that people come to see me for. Okay, so they've come in for pain management. Now, one person can say, okay, if it's acute, that means it just happened. They were in a car accident. Most likely, I'm just going to do acupuncture.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if it's been ongoing or something's been ongoing and they've done the whole accoutrement of acupuncture, chiropractic, massage, they've taken pain meds, nothing's helped, then I start looking into the other stuff.
I see.
Okay.
Okay.
Are there emotional blockages? What is their energy field looking like? And so I'll tap in. Now, not everybody's open to energy work. And so it really also is dependent on the person.
Oh, so if like say I was your client and I could I I could kind of not give you permission, would that be verbally, or is it something that I could do in my body to block?
Yeah, so all,
Explain.
all all of those, right?
Yeah.
So typically I would ask first, it verbally if you give me permission.
Okay.
You can always ask on a soul level as well, right? So I talk to your soul and say, do you give me permission? Right. And sometimes your soul will say no.
Why?
And there are reasons to why. And then you have to kind of work around that if you want to dive into that.
Is that like trauma? Would that be
Sometimes
a
it's a
close off?
belief, sometimes the soul's just not ready.
Okay.
Okay. So like I had one patient who was in a lot of pain and she had done the chiropractic, was doing the massage, she was taking pain meds, and it would give her temporary relief, but not permanent.
A band-aid.
Yeah, it's just a band-aid. So I said, okay, then it's more spiritual on that end. So she came in and I cleared her, and it was doing energy work, only energy work. And I still balance her with acupuncture. Okay. I was still balancing her with acupuncture.
Okay.
But after one session, like 85, 90% of her symptoms went away.
Wow.
And her coworkers were like, wow, what a difference. Like, what did you do? Right.
It's awesome.
So I said, okay, there's still a little bit left. So let's do one more session. So I 2 sessions, 100% recovery.
And
And
with
I
the
haven't seen
pain.
her since.
Well, you did your job,
Right.
and
So
I
I'm
get.
like, did I shoot myself in the foot? No, but no, I'd rather have them, be done than me rehashing problems over and over.
So,
Right.
was it something that you felt because you have this gift and this is what you do? You're a professional at this. You knew
Yeah.
where to look.
Yes. So, I have a series of questions that I go through myself, is it stuck in the auric field? Is it stuck in an organ? Is it stuck in a channel? Is it an emotional? Is it an event? It could be an event that had happened that you haven't recovered from.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Now, some people, they have a combination of all three, where it's a physical problem, like I actually have to deal with the physical pain. I have to deal with the emotional pain that came along with it. There may be an event associated with that emotion, with this trauma that's creating that trauma.
So that's the perfect storm of.
That's this perfect storm.
Yeah.
Then you also have people on top of all those three. Then you also have people who have the energy work that needs to be done on top of that. So it could be associated with someone else's emotions that's causing this, could be associated with a spirit that has attached to you somehow, like from a past life, and they're showing up because they're saying, this is the area you need to work on.
I'm sort of trying
Okay.
to help.
They're trying to help. Yes. So what initially, when I first started learning about this, it was like there's a lot of fear involved. Like people project a lot of fear around spirits and entities and beings. They're like, you're possessed, you're possessed. Okay,
It's the
calm
unknown,
down,
right?
people, right? We're not here doing the exorcist or something, right?
Okay.
Um, but even in those more traumatic beings, they themselves were a wounded soul. So they may have been human like me and you, but some trauma happened. And so I'll give you an example. So one person, I was clearing this, and he drew out what he was seeing, right? And these beings were gnarly, like they look scary. They're like, knives and, just
Oh my
grotesque.
God.
And as we are doing the clearing, the person began to transform, is being transformed back into a regular human. Okay. So it's like, have you seen someone, the expression hangry? When you're so angry and hungry at the same time,
Yeah.
you become like this other person, right?
Uh-huh.
That's what happens with these traumatic souls that become these negative beings, is that they underwent so much trauma, so much anger. All they could see was red. They couldn't
Oh,
get out of that red phase.
I see. See,
Okay.
and how do you ground yourself and not take any of that stuff with you because you're constantly dealing with it. It's around you.
Yeah. So I have my daily work that I do where I am grounding. So I set the intention. I do my qigong. I do my walking. I'm out in nature. I clear myself constantly. Okay. And I activate my Merkaba. And this is a visualization of a field around me that pulls out this stuff and keeps things away.
A Merkava?
Yeah, it's a Merkaba. It's called one light body. The translation is one light body.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And I've a question is like how does this type of energy work differ from, and everyone knows that out there listening, everyone knows that one person that just, if you're in the same room, they drain you. Their energy
Yeah.
is draining.
Yeah, we
Is
call
this
them energy vampires.
energy vampires? Yeah. Okay. So are we? Is this the same type of energy? Can trauma and the energy vampire person that be the same thing? And can you help the energy vampire person?
Yes, yes. Ultimately, right? They also have to want to be helped, right? Things that they can do. Because some people are just like, they just want to take, take, take. And some people you can't help at all.
Okay.
Okay. Um, so I'm kind of selective in deciding in who I help also as well, because sometimes I'm not the right person, and I'll just say I'm not the right person.
You just feel that?
I tap in, I ask the question, am I the right person to help them?
Oh,
And sometimes it's a yes, and sometimes it's maybe, because maybe they're not ready. So
okay.
sometimes people aren't ready to work with me. And I've had people where I've put them on hold and say they need to go through whatever they need to go through, and when they're ready, then it's time for me to work with them.
Would a clearing help the person like that?
If it's not time for me to work with them, no.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry if I don't if some of my questions are
It's okay. No, these are great questions because people are going to have those same exact questions with you.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And I hope that I'm understanding correctly because like those energy vampires we were talking about,
Hmm.
I would just in my experience, and I hope I'm thinking of I got the concept, but I don't think anybody could tell those people. I don't think that they would think that they're draining the room. I think it would be very hard to tell them that that's happening.
Um,
Do I have the right concept?
you know, some people are, depends on how aware they are. They might not be. Most are not aware of how draining they are. But there's some people like just want to be around people like me. Why? Because I'm very bright. I have a lot of energy. So they're like, oh, I want to gravitate towards
So they're
them.
like a leech.
They're like a leech, right? And so then you have to really kind of like divert their attention.
Tricks of the trade. Wow.
um, yeah, so I've had to divert some people's attention, and ask guidance. I ask my guides. So I have spirit guides, that help me with this work. So it's not only me. I have a team behind me
Okay.
doing all this work with me, just like you have a team behind you getting these podcasts
Right,
together,
right,
right?
right. Yeah.
They're just on the spirit world.
Okay. It's a yeah, and um, you know that NAET
Yes.
you practice,
Yes.
is that could that help in the energy realm, or is that just something completely different? Maybe you could expand on that if you.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. NAT, as I said to you in the last podcast, that I find it to be a great bridge between acupuncture and the spirit world.
Okay.
Because sometimes in the clearings that we're doing, it's related to events that have happened, sometimes in this lifetime, sometimes in a past lifetime. Okay. And the emotions tied to it. So, because if you think about it, what we're asking you to do is hold a vial with the energy signature of whatever is we're clearing. So, let's say bananas, you're allergic to bananas.
Okay.
So you hold a vial that says bananas. Okay. And in that, then we go through a series of breathing passes and acupuncture to reset the mind and the body. So, um, you help it clear and pass through so that you reset your body to this thing, this item like bananas,
Okay.
so that you don't react to it anymore because it holds the cellular memory of whatever it is that had happened.
Is that in
So
the subconscious?
it's in the subconscious, it's in our DNA, it's in the cells,
Oh,
and you can pass it on. So if you're a pregnant woman and here you are worried and fearful, you're going to pass some of those emotions on to your baby.
that only makes sense.
Yeah. So, when I was pregnant with both my children, each child had their own personality, and that affected me. Like with my eldest, I would cry at commercials. Okay. Like
Uh,
with my second one, I never cried at all.
wow,
And today, to this day, both of them, my oldest is more sensitive and will cry at the dime, at a drop.
it's amazing.
And the older one, he is just like defiant, and he's the younger one, he's just like defiant and
Hmm.
doesn't cry unless it's like
And
trauma.
you knew this before they were born.
And I saw that before they were born. And even like the cravings I had as when I was pregnant with the older and the younger one, that is how they eat today. That is what they eat today.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Um,
So that's the energy, right? So that's the imprint in our body. So they were imprinting on me and I was imprinting on them. And so everything has an imprint. So that's why NET is so powerful, because it is a great bridge between that.
I see.
Yeah.
That is something else. And you mentioned something that just totally intrigued by, where you said something about something from a past life
Yes.
can affect us.
Yes.
How would we know unless we went to someone who was a professional like you who could figure it out, right? Or do we know this somehow?
Yeah, well, some people are intuitive and they just have memories. So some people do have memories of past lives. And you'll see it more in children up to about the age of 8 to 10. Then they start tuning some of that stuff out, especially if they're not tapping into it, okay, at that early age. So, but some people just inherently know, like they know there's more to spirit. They know that it's there, okay? But a lot of people won't know. They'll just go about their day and not know why they feel a certain way, or not know why they have a certain like they're just so interested in certain
Drawn
topics,
to something.
drawn to something for some reason. It's probably
Uh,
something that they've done in a past life. It's probably something that has happened, like to them. So why some movies just pull you in and you just resonate with that one character. Well, guess what? That one character, you've probably lived that kind of character's life.
Right. That's so it's so amazing.
Yeah.
And is there any energy work that is done or can give you information from the dreaming state?
Yes. So messages come in very varied areas of your life. Okay. Some people dream, and that's the messages that come through the dream state. Now, not many of us remember our dreams, or if
Right.
we do, we'll just talk it up to being a dream. But if you tap in and you ask the right questions, you can ask, is there a message in this dream? What is this dream about? But you just try to feel like, how did I feel during that dream? What happened? What did I do or didn't do that could have been better, right? So there are messages within dreams. There are messages within numbers. There are messages from certain animals. So there are spirit meanings to certain animals that you see all the time. Like hummingbirds are about enjoying the moment, living in joy, right?
Oh.
Okay.
What about angel numbers?
So angel, yeah, exactly. There's tons of numbers that have spiritual meanings, right? Um, so like 1111 is
All the
a
time.
very,
See that one all the time.
yeah, all the time, right? It's a very spiritual meaning, but it's tapping in. And like 222s, right? You think of twos as a pair, right?
Yeah.
So it's the balance of yin and yang. So
So
and you can search this up on Google. I mean, there are tons of practitioners out there that do this much better than I do. But I do know about them and I do use it quite
gotcha.
often.
So let me ask you. I know we talked a little bit about it, but this is all just so interesting, and I love your show because there's so many questions I have for you. But who would be the ideal client to work with you?
My ideal client is anyone who wants to get better and is willing to partner with me, because this is a partnership. I'm not just a practitioner.
Uh-huh.
They've got to partner with me and get them to a new state. They want to be proactive in their work. Right?
So
I'm not just the fixer.
right.
I'm kind of like the facilitator who teaches them, and then they pay attention to what's going on and they make those changes.
Okay. So the people have to put in the work too.
They do have to
You're
put in
not
the
going to just
work.
do it for them.
Mm-mm. I mean, for pain management, when it's acute, yes, I need to get you out of that state,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But when it's more chronic, when it's more emotional, when it's more deeper, they've got to put in the work.
And I know it's a little bit different from your work with the acupuncture because I know that you can really help people
Yeah.
with like allergies. Say
Yes,
that's true, right?
that's true.
And pain management with acupuncture
With
too.
acupuncture, yes. Even the emotional component, right? People have asked about addictions.
Yeah.
So, what are you addicted to? Are you addicted to food? Are you addicted to nicotine? Are you addicted to like exercise? I mean, some people can overdo it, right?
Right.
There's a reason behind those addictions. What is the emotional component to it? What are you trying to prove? Who are you trying to prove it to? Okay. Um, and there are tons of protocols that we can use. And the real reason why you have the addictions is because there's an imbalance in your body. Okay. Whether it's your channels that are off. So, why are some people prone to anger? Why are some people prone to worry? It's because there's a weakness or a stagnation within the channels. So anger is the liver channel and the gallbladder channel. Okay. Worry is the stomach and spleen channel. And if you've ever noticed, anyone who's had a lot of worry, their digestion is off. And
Yeah.
if the more they worry, the more their digestion is off. Whether they want to eat, like crave more sweet foods, or they have tons of bowel movements, or they have indigestion, it's all related to those emotions as well.
Gotcha. Wow. That's not the same as chakras, right?
No, it's a different line of energy work.
Okay.
Okay. So and I'll show you a model maybe after the break or something
Mm.
of where the energy lines run within the body. um because we follow those energy pathways to balance the channel, to balance your body, and I do that by looking at your tongue, by feeling your pulse, because they're all representing where the imbalance is in your body.
Oh, so cool. We should do that for our next show. You should
Okay.
maybe you can
Tongue
show
we
us
can
that.
do. We
Yeah,
can do
yeah, yeah.
tongue diagnosis. Pulse diagnosis, I don't know how I can do that
Right.
anymore.
But yeah, but talking about that is just so interesting. Mylin, Tran, we're out of time, but let me give you the last word here. Anything that you want to leave the audience with, and then let us know how to get a hold of you. Fascinating.
Okay.
Great stuff.
Thank you. Well, you can contact me at thedao.arts@gmail.com. It's THETAOARTS@gmail.com. And you can email me or join me on Facebook. My website is thedaoarts.com. And last words is, stay warm, wear a scarf, especially around this season, because the back of your neck is where the pathogen and the wind enters, and that's how you can get colds really easily. So that is my fall tip for today.
All right. Hey, Mylin, Tran, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you for people who wrote in. I'm sorry if I didn't get to you, but Mylin, Tran, everybody, we'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.